What is up, fam? Thank you so much for tuning in to So Real Sports Talk. This is a show geared for you, the faithful. Lot to talk about with the game. We have some people right now in the lobby, so we'll go ahead and get it started. My man Waruna always jumping into the call. Unfortunately, just like last week, man, another loss, but a lot to talk about, man. What were some of your takeaways just to start from the beginning?
So first thing is, I predicted this loss as well. Scoreline was almost same. I said 28-20, so it was 28-21.
Close.
And
Close.
unfortunately, our special teams took the worst game to fail, but that's fine. They, I mean, they also going to have some bad games. That's fine. But
Right.
first thing first. So I want to congratulate Kyle Shanahan being the best coach in the NFL. Brilliant coach. So I don't know what to say about it.
I mean, I think he has how he handles this week. Clearly, the 49ers dropping to 2-2, having to start Trey Lance. Obviously, he's going to get a lot of questions about that. Look, Trey and Jimmy both played well during the same amount of time in the last 2-minute drill when, the defense is dropping back. It just seemed like Trey Lance, with his legs gives us a little more than Jimmy. So at this point, right, another loss. If we lose to Arizona next week, you could pretty much kiss the playoffs goodbye. So,
Yeah.
But Woduna, go ahead. We have some people in the lobby, so we'll give you like 3 to 5 minutes to talk about just what you want to talk about.
Yes. So the first thing is, this is what I really feared, that we are going to the bye week with the record of 2-3. So seems like it is happening, unless some miraculous thing happening. We have to play Trey Lance now because there is no turning back. Even if we go back to Jimmy, it's just a waste of the season. Because at Trey Lance today, when he came in, he looked really nervous, unsettled. Sometimes it looked like he really didn't know what to execute because Kyle Shanahan, for some reason, arrogantly refused to give Trey Lance first team snaps, prepare his quarterback who spent 3 first round picks. So that madness got to stop now and give the proper chance to Trey Lance to develop at least for the next year, because next year we are going to play AFC West. So NFC West combined with AFC West, 10 brutal games. So at least prepare Trey Lance now. So that's the first thing.
Do you believe Shanahan's there next year?
Most probably not, and I hope he will not be here because this is one of the most arrogant individuals I have seen throughout the NFL. Because
Pinor agrees with you.
yeah,
He's thanking you for your comments. And we're gonna have Pinor coming up pretty soon here too.
Yeah, I want to listen to him. He'll be fired up. So that's the first thing. And Mike McGlinchey, thank you. Crucial offensive holding penalty. He did it last year as well. When I can't remember what was the game, whether it was Washington game or something. He did the same thing. Very good. Because you asked me to talk about positive, so I'll talk about it. And our secondary, so Kirk Patrick, the pass interference call. We are leading in pass interference calls. It's obvious when you have players that are limited capabilities, skill sets, we are going to give away this pass interference call. So it is obvious. It is happening over there. So again, Kyle, good job. If you are listening, let somebody pat on your back. And what was that trick play that Jimmy tried to do?
I mean, in all fairness, I don't think that was Jimmy's fault. It was there. Like, it could have been a touchdown. They just had a running back that hadn't played his first time playing in the NFL, and they did it with him instead of maybe somebody who had practiced that play a little bit more. Jimmy actually
But still, Jimmy overthrew George Kittle. Still, he owes to George Kittle.
Yeah, I mean, but I think the whole play got messed up timing wise when the pass wasn't there. But Waruna, stay on. I want to get Pinor on, and I know you got a lot more to say, so we'll get you back in, okay? Pinor, unmute your phone, my guy.
What up, man?
Hey, feel free to go off, my guy.
Okay, so I expected the worst in this game, so I'm not as mad as I was in the previous week. Mm-hmm. But I mean, still, again, this team is garbage. You guys are very unrealistic to think that we would beat this team. Now, it's not to say that they weren't beatable. They were beatable at one point. But like the Seahawks always do, they make adjustments, and we just wait for them to make them. And I just hate how that first half went with so much opportunity to take, take this game. This game was just proof that, it was back to square one. We don't hate Kyle no more. Jimmy is limiting us. And that was back to the original problem. To me, when I watched this game, I mean, it was just, I think, who was it? It was Mina Kimes that said it on Twitter. It was like, Jimmy was pretty much the one keeping Seattle in this game, right? And it just blew my mind that people were still trying to defend Jimmy. And I get it on that double pass play. I get it that throw was over Jimmy's head, and good thing that he caught it and everything. But I'm gonna be honest with you, if Trey Lance was in that play, I'm just saying that he's a little more athletic and a little more gifted than Jimmy to catch that thing, and he could at least lead that ball down the field if it did take him time after catching that over the head pass that he had to do, Right. So I just felt like he just underthrew Kittle a little bit on that one, because you see him that he had to go back to the ball, and Adams just had all day to go back to Kittle and to pretty much make that just a whatever play, It's obvious that also this line is garbage on the right side. They could not run to the right side to save their lives. It was just terrible. I get it that Kyle was doing that to keep the defense honest, but the left side is where it's at. And now that, we don't know what's happening with Trent right now with his arm or whatever at the end of the game. Right. I don't know what's up with that. But, and then I think that special teams was completely garbage today. My gosh, man. And Cannon, you are the worst special teams player in a while. Like, geez, man. Like, it was just terrible.
Before you keep going up, I have a question.
Yes, my bad. Yeah.
No, you're good.
You
talked about the right side of the offensive line. I don't know if you're seeing this as well. I think that Alex Mack isn't as good as we expected it to be. Have you noticed how many times the quarterback has to adjust to a bad snap? It seemed like it was all the time that they're catching the ball with one hand or having to like jump up or like
the upper body says everything.
Yep.
Their upper body is saying everything when he's snapping the ball. I'm not saying I played quarterback a long time, but when I did in Pop Warner, it was just you knew what's up, man. If you have to catch the ball like at the end of your wingspan, it says a lot, and I just hated it. Sometimes they were low, sometimes they were I can't tell because I can't see the broadcast view of it, but I'm pretty sure when I do, it's going to be all over the damn place. But that's what to expect. This is another Kyle Shanahan guy here that he brought in because, I know him instead of being the right man for the job. He knew him. He brings him in. It's the classic Kyle Shanahan signing in the offseason that we just accept and we think is going to work and it doesn't. Right. I mean, so Coleman was the first iteration of that for me. Go ahead.
Pinor. So we're taking a straw poll. Waruna was the first. So next year, should Kyle Shanahan be this coach? Yes or no?
For me, okay, if I had to say right here and then, yes, he needs to get fired. Look at the line, guys. If you guys are watching this, look at the line. He gave Trent all this money. What happened in this game, guys? Trent got hurt. Okay, and I don't know if it's going to be long term or not, but either way, this guy's making all the money on this line right now. Okay, he gets comfortable and brings Alex Mack in here, and he's garbage. You wanted to draft McGlinchey because of what? His connection towards the Falcons that you had with somebody that we all knew? You drafted him for that?
Right.
This is what I have to settle for my right tackle here? Brunskill shouldn't be a starter. Oh, wait. You got a draft bust, in my opinion, out of Aaron Banks.
Right.
This is your designing here. This isn't John Lynch. This isn't Peters. This is you, Kyle. Kyle, you're mediocre. I'm tired of people defending you. You're completely garbage. You designed this whole team right now, so I don't want to hear it that Jimmy got hurt this season, and this is going to be my excuse. You're stupid. You have your – I don't want to cuss, but yes. You know what I'm going with this.
I feel you,
Yes.
Pinor. Sound off. I love it, my man. We got some more people we need to get in, but thank you so much for joining the show, Pinor.
Yes.
You've always been a super fan, man. I appreciate you.
Yep. You have a good one.
All right,
Everybody else, have a good one.
Korean 49er, my friend. How are you doing today?
I'm good, Cindy. Sorry I haven't caught up on a ton of your streams, but
Hey, that's
it's nice talking to you.
nice talking to you too, man. It's your time. Sound off. How do you feel about the game? What you want to touch on?
Pinord took a lot of my thunder. I've been tired of Kyle after 2019 Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
He contributed to the first Falcons loss. That's Falcons loss against New England, and now he's contributed to a second. And the way this team is constructed, it's terrible. You're relying on players who get perpetually injured and they're older. That doesn't sound like a recipe for success in a season. I'm sorry that Jason Verrett and Trent Williams are hurt. I don't know if Trent Williams is out for an extended period, but those guys haven't been able to play full seasons, and we're expecting to be successful trying to at least make it to the playoffs with players that I believe we can't count on. That's just how I see it. And also, for this cornerback depth, we drafted 2 cornerbacks. Yes, we did. But one of them can't see the field for whatever reason. And I don't know what Kyle or whoever saw in Ambry that in him at the time. Maybe next season he'll be on the field. But we need him this season, and he's not on the field.
Right.
To me, the way this team is built, and also from last week against Green Bay, Kyle has not improved in situational awareness. Where is he in telling Jimmy, don't snap it with 12 seconds left before they scored that touchdown? They need to take that to 5 seconds or less and see what happens. And also, when Jimmy Ward was confused after giving up before that 12-yard play before the field goal, the team still had timeouts. Why didn't they just call a timeout and make sure they got the calls right and calm everybody down before? I've seen no improvement in the team. Kyle chooses suspect players in the draft to try and fit his system, and we are paying the price for it now. I don't see any way that this season gets better outside of Trey plays and he gets better as the season goes. I'm not expecting, roses and ice cream and all the good stuff every game with Trey. I expect there to be some big bumps on the road, but
So you think this season's done? No playoffs, no chance.
I thought they would get close to 8 or 9 wins, but I don't see that making the playoffs.
Wow.
To me, this team just had too many questions before the first game of the season. And then we're also relying on rookie coordinators and Mike McDaniel and DeMeco Ryans. I hope they do a great job. This year's going to be, learning lessons for them, and hopefully they'll improve on it. But this season, I just don't see it. To me, Arizona's playing well. The Rams aren't going to go away.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't see where they may have some wins, and I hope they can win as many games as they can, but I just don't see a playoff berth coming. And the thing that really kills me the most is, and this will be my last point, Kyle keeps saying, I don't want Jimmy as a starting quarterback, all off season and from seasons before. I'm
and he's still the quarterback.
And I'm still the quarterback. Exactly. I'm just going by what the man is saying.
You're right.
And then he wanted every warm body as quarterback this past offseason, within reason, of course.
Uh-huh.
But now it's like we're seeing some of those fruits of those decisions.
Right. I tweeted this out during the game. We could have had Tom Brady. We maybe could have gotten Matt the guy over that the Rams got,
Stafford.
Matthew Stafford. And then if we waited a year, we possibly could get Aaron Rodgers, right? But instead we have Jimmy. And I mean, look, I think Trey could be good. Just like you talked about Ambry Thomas, him and Trey both didn't play football last year. So to expect them just to come in and be able to be, instant contributors, I think is a lot to ask for, especially with players that young. But I agree with you. And before I let you go, should Kyle Shanahan be the coach next season?
I'm going to say no.
Ooh.
Because to me, one thing this team needs is a coach that could develop a quarterback, or at least a coordinator or an assistant coach that's developed a young quarterback. That's the first thing, because Trey's going to be needing that.
Uh-huh.
And Brian Dable developed Josh Allen. I'm just going by what the record says. And Eric
and you saw even Mitch Trubisky's looking good under Dayball as well.
I mean, to me, I think I would have also not re-signed Trent Williams. I would have tried to get Corey Linsley and then maybe have gotten a Rashawn Slater. Slater would have at least been serviceable. I'm not sure if he would have been all world, but if he was serviceable, that's all we could ever really ask for.
And even if you stick with Trey, picking up Asante Samuel instead of Aaron Banks, that might have solved, some of our secondary issues as well. Great call, man. Yep. Thank you for joining on. I hope to see you next week as well. All right.
Appreciate you.
All right, man. You take care. Let's get this next call. One of the most dapper 49er fans ever.
What up,
Ryan? And thank you so much for joining us today, man. Unfortunately, on somber notes, talk to me, man. What are you feeling right now?
Well, to answer your question, if Kyle keeps coaching like this, yes, he shouldn't be our coach next year. When your field goal kicker is hurt with a groin injury and it's third and 15 in field goal range and you throw a screen pass, I mean, hello, try and get there. Try and actually get there so you can get the touchdown. Let the guy warm up with PATs. You know what I mean? If you really need at the end of the game to bring him in for a real field goal, then do it. But you've warmed him up the whole time.
And Ryan, when you make a move like that, you're definitely going for it on fourth down. Like in my mind, that's just to make it more manageable on fourth down to go for it. But then you kick the field goal. I'm like, wow, that makes absolutely no sense, right?
Yeah, what are you doing? You're just giving them the ball at a shorter range, essentially. If you try and push that, you might get a couple more yards, and that just backs them up even more. I mean, there was a couple times he went short on third down and long, and I'm like, what are you doing? Go for the freaking first down. I mean, Jimmy's play was, it wasn't, terrible. I'm not going to say it was terrible because it wasn't, but he couldn't eclipse after that first drive. He just kind of, they knew how to play him. Everybody was looking for the same shots. We almost lost Kittle for the year.
Right.
You see that hit with his foot still on the ground and bent around. Oh my God. I don't think I would have survived that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, so luckily neither of us are prime NFL $1 million athletes though. So thankfully he's more flexible than probably both of us.
Yes. I think he did yoga a lot. His sister helped him with that. But when it comes down to it, his look what Trey did. Trey doubled the amount of points that Jimmy had in the first half after Seattle had made corrections.
Right.
And the one thing you can't do with Trey too much is make so many corrections because he can kill you in two different ways. You saw how he ran for the fourth down.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's certain things you can't just, you know what I mean? He looks so much like Steve Young to me.
Yeah. And, those first two drives, he obviously didn't look good and Twitter was bashing him. And then that third drive, he got under control. Now, obviously, there was, Seattle's defense was playing more in that cover zone. So he had more running room and, easier passes. But, hey, that's when Jimmy looks good, too. It's not like Jimmy looks good during the full play of the game. He's only looking good in the last 2 minutes of halves, really. So I know, Ryan, you kind of left the door open. What do you need to see out of this team and namely out of Kyle Shanahan that you feel confident bringing him back next season as your coach?
Well, first thing, Jimmy can't get back out on the field.
Does you keep him as a backup or do you try to trade him?
I don't think you can trade him.
You don't think so?
No.
Okay.
What value? What value does he have? Who wants to be burdened with a quarterback who they're just going to stack the box on, and you're going to have to do these, 3 to 10 yard, maybe 15 every once in a while, maybe like a 20 something yard pass.
Mm-hmm.
But I think he's only had like 3 of those so far this season that he's completed. What can you do? You need a superior run game. You know what? You could trade him to Tennessee.
Miami. Tennessee.
No, Tennessee. Miami doesn't want him. They're about to leverage their future for Watson. You know what I mean? You could trade him to Tennessee. I've always said
he's an upgrade over Tannehill.
No, but you could ask the same of him as you asked from Tannehill.
Right.
I think Tannehill's better, but I think we could have won the Super Bowl with Tannehill. He's a little more dependable with things. It seems like he's, and the guy keeps improving, little by little, but he keeps improving. And you got a great run game over there. So I don't see.
Harold saying trade Kyle.
See, this is the thing. If we trade Kyle, I think he pulls his head out of his butt and he actually realizes, oh, maybe I have to do some self-evaluation. And then we just give up on that. And I hope something will ring true to him this year that makes him pull his head out of his butt this year. His situational awareness of things is just really crap.
But Ryan, let's talk. I think I think it's like that. Have you ever heard of like the sunken cost theory, where we've been with this guy for 5 years? We've seen some flashes. We've fallen in love with him. He's helped turn around the culture. We've seen him take us to a Super Bowl. So we're like, let's just give him another chance. There's a guy in Buffalo right now named Brian Daboll that's making young quarterbacks look like phenoms, right? You see Mitch Trubisky with 4 years in Chicago with Matt Nagy, and then in just a little bit of time with Brian Daboll on the Buffalo Bills, he looks like a completely different quarterback. He will not be available in a couple of years, right? I think either Chicago gets him because of Justin Fields, or the 49ers hopefully can be in the running for that. And then Daboll could kind of choose which situation he wants to be in. I would be ecstatic if we could have a coach like Brian Daboll come in, help develop a young Trey Lance, because we haven't seen Kyle hasn't developed a quarterback in the 5 years that he's been here. What makes us think that we give him another year and that's going to change things?
That is a great point. But also at the same time, I don't think Jed has the spine to do that.
So we need to do it, Crypto. We need to do it, Ryan. We as the faithful need to start making that seat so hot that Shanahan wants to go, and let Daboll come in before somebody else snaps him up. And then, then we have to settle for maybe something a little bit less, right? Because I think Daboll and Trey Lance, young quarterback, that's a match made in heaven right now. So that's what I'm looking towards. But I want to give you the last word, Ryan.
So just think, if Kyle was a better coach and made better decisions and was an actual leader and did his job to do his job the right way, we could have seen this second half of this game, the first half of the Detroit game. And where would Lance have been by this point so far in the season? You know what I mean? We might not have lost the Green Bay game.
Mm-hmm.
We might not have lost this game.
Right.
I'm not saying it's a for sure, but when you're playing 11 on 11, buddy, certain things get stretched a little thin and plays get broke open. And we saw that in the second half. The defense couldn't adjust at times for what was going on. They didn't even know what was going on at times. Right. I even watched the cameraman and myself didn't even know what was going on one time when he threw that bomb. They thought he handed it off. I thought he handed it off, and all of a sudden he pops up, cocks his arm up, and I was like, oh, he still got it.
Yep.
Like, I don't know.
It's frustrating, man. I mean, you look at this, the defense played so lights out in the first half. For most of the first half, they only let, 7 points to a really good offense with Russ at the helm. And I tweeted it. I said, look, if Seattle wins this game, everybody's going to blame the defense, and they're going to forget about how lights out they played for so long. If they could have put up even 13 points in the first half, right? Just a field goal and a touchdown, or or 2 touchdowns, 14-0 going in, 14-0 going into the half. It's a completely different game, right? But
I think Trey could have scored more points in the first half than Jimmy did.
Absolutely. But here's the silver lining. This is the only way under Kyle Shanahan's type of mentality and stubbornness that Trey gets a chance to start. Like, this was the only way. It was, he's not going to pull Jimmy out because of bad play, because too many people on the team like him, too many fans are like, Jimmy wins, all this kind of stuff. This needs to be it. We saw Trey go out, throw 2 touchdowns, move the ball with his legs. Now there's a reason for him to start, and maybe the season can be salvaged, and he's going to go tough game against Arizona, but then going into the bye week, if we could somehow beat Arizona or at least compete there into the bye week, now we're talking about the second half of the season. We're still playing the easiest record, I guess, schedule of any team in the NFC West. So who knows, man? There's still a chance if we keep Trey, and worst case scenario, he has all of the experience he needs to go into next season. All systems go, right?
Right.
I like it. Hey, you have the best sunglass game in for the faithful, my man. I appreciate you joining the show. Please keep tapping in, man. Have a great night. We'll talk again soon, okay?
You too, sir.
I appreciate you, man. Guys, everybody that wants to jump on, the link is in the description. Please don't hesitate. It's all your time. Appreciate you guys tapping in. Waruna, you stuck around, my man. What'd you think about the last calls? Anything that you wanted to talk about?
I mean, everyone is basically correct, right? We were saying all this stuff all year long. And I have one more question.
Yeah.
After the Packers loss, there were so many pundits came out and say, hey, look, if you're a real 49er fan, just calm down. We are just 2-1 and we just lost in the last second field goal and whatnot. Okay, what do you have to say now? We are 2-2. Are you still going to say we have 13 more games so we can be 15-2 by end of the season?
Right.
And good point. I think Pino made that point, right, about Alex Mack. I also noticed that basically sometimes his snaps are too slow. Did you realize that?
Yeah, I actually brought up that point that that Alex Mack is, I think, not playing as advertised. So many missed snaps. It seems like the quarterback, no matter if it's Trey or Jimmy, always have to adjust to where that ball is, which, split seconds like that messes up timing, messes up, the just overall, like it's like something else that doesn't make the play go as planned.
Yes. And today, Laken Tomlinson, he gave away a sack. Yeah. It was like, again, he did what Alex Mack did last week. Like, he was just pushed around and he was just looking back and
he went the wrong way. He missed the guy.
Yes, he missed the guy. So that's one thing I was seeing. And I think we should give special, credit to Manuel Mosley.
Yeah.
He played well.
Mm-hmm.
I really liked how he broke the pass on DK Metcalf because he was beaten. That was a touchdown, but still he had what's the correct word for that? I mean,
he has a lot of confidence, right? Yeah, and a lot of
giving up on the play.
Persistence.
Yes, exactly. Persistence. So he just broke that ball, and Kittle seems to be really hurt. I was really worried. He doesn't seem to be 100%. I know he played for the team, but he seemed to be really hurt. So that's one thing I noticed. And I believe most probably by tomorrow, the blame game will come to the special teams and Trent Cannon, and they will find a way to shift the blame towards defense. Okay, first half it was just 1 touchdown. Okay, next half you gave away 3 touchdowns, etc. But I think at least right now we have to start focusing on the real problems that we have as a team.
I think that a lot of times we look at the So like whenever you are like a doctor, right? People are going to come in and they're going to talk about symptoms, right? I have a cough. I have a fever. I have headaches. I have upset stomach. These are all symptoms. But what the doctor doesn't do is treat the symptoms. They treat the underlying virus. So I think what people see is symptoms. Oh, there was a fumble by Trent Cannon. Oh, there was, this by the offensive line or that by. These are symptoms. There's an underlying virus here that consistently has the 49ers not playing up to the caliber of the talent of the team, right? So we haven't seen the 49ers put together 4 good quarters of football. And that is a problem, right? We finally saw the defensive line kind of wake up in the first half where they were just getting sack after sack after sack against Russell Wilson. But then second half, either, Seattle adjusted, I'm sure, but we didn't see that same type of domination out of the defensive line. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that no matter what they do, they're not getting any help from their offense. So they're constantly coming back in inopportune moments where they're having to have their back against the wall. And the play, like they have to make a play to keep their team in it. And that's a lot of pressure, a lot of stress. It takes a lot of energy. So at the end of the game, it's tough to get those stops when you're constantly putting all of your energy because this play is make or break. And that's kind of how the defense, I think, needs to play. I think this underlying virus is we have an offensive-minded coach, Waruna, and in the last 5 years, our defense has always been our strength. And to me, that is very, very disappointing and a big question mark. We have an offensive-minded coach. Why don't we have one of the best offenses in the league?
Exactly.
And that I think is Shanahan a coach or is he better as an offensive coordinator? It seems like, in year 5, who knows? We'll see. There's still, there's still 13 more games in the season. So hopefully somebody could clip this and it could come back to haunt me because I would more than love for the 49ers to go off, make a run and, make the playoffs and deep into the playoffs. But from what we're seeing right now, I tweeted this out last week. I said this game was going to let us know if the 2-1 49ers record was due to the caliber of their opponents or due to the quality of their team. And once again, another quote unquote playoff team we dropped. We won 2 games against non-playoff teams. We've dropped these 2 games against playoff teams. So to me, the record is fool's gold. It's just because of the caliber of the team. It's not because of how good we are as a team. And unfortunately, next week doesn't get any easier. We just, the potential, we're going up against maybe the potential MVP of this season and a team that just went in and thrashed a Rams team that everybody thought was the best team in the NFC.
Yes, exactly. The other thing is, most importantly, when we play the Seattle, what I looked to during the first quarter, what I thought about Seattle is like Seattle needs a revamp. Seattle needs to rebuild. So that's what was my initial feeling because that team, even though they won this game, doesn't mean that Seattle is a good football team right now because they have a bad defense. Offense is, if you take Russell Wilson out, this team would be like maybe easily can go 5-12. That kind of a team is because Wilson carried this team even today's game. So when we are losing the games like this, you have to really be honest and question. Just remove your what you call fan glasses and see it is what's the truth behind this team. So I saw one comment that Kyle DeMan Shanahan, he's asking, okay, what are the adjustments Seattle made? One adjustment that comes into my mind, Pete Carroll, he figured out that the deep passes is not working because of the blitzing. He tried more screen passes and the short passes, he gained more yardage through that. If you remember, they played like more of a yards after catch game during the second half. Tyler Lockett, and who is the other receiver that got the touchdown? Swain, right?
Yeah, something like that.
Yes. So they just did the best they can. even the defense, they just did the best they can. But still, I mean, the talk of the town would be tomorrow that Trent Cannon, why did he do that? But
Uh-huh.
that can happen in any game. I don't think that we should factor that 7 points for this defeat. Yes, it contributed.
Look, that definitely changed the dynamic of the
Yes.
game, but that we were in that position is a
Yes.
bigger problem because the defense had Russ on the ropes and the offense couldn't put pressure on the team, right? Think about if Russ was still only negative 7 yards passing or whatever it was, and he was down by 2 touchdowns instead of by 1 touchdown. Now all of a sudden the whole game plan for Seattle changes where they have to throw the ball each time. And like you said, at that point, the defensive line was eating up that offensive line. We could have made this game, maybe possibly put it out of reach if the offense could put any type of pressure. But if you constantly give Russ that many chances, he's a great quarterback. That's what happened with last week with Aaron Rodgers.
Yes.
You give these good quarterbacks, great quarterbacks, enough opportunities, eventually they're going to burn you. And, we've seen it in back-to-back weeks that, we've lost because our offense can't put up points in when we need them to put up points.
Yes, because one of the things that during the first half Russell Wilson did was he constantly trying to hold into the ball and look for big plays, Metcalf, Lockett, whether they would be open or not. The second half he realized it's not going to come, so he adjusted. So as you said, anyway, it's going to do. So just going to answer one more thing.
Sure.
Said Trey Lance was on fire with 3 and outs. I mean, we are talking about a head coach who refused to give Trey Lance first team snaps. Then again, any chance to make his young quarterback into the game ready level when we were repeatedly asking, even in the preseason games, he wanted Trey Lance to play in his specific place, being a pocket quarterback, not trying to build his offense around Trey Lance's strengths. So
Right.
this is his first game. Still, you saw some of these plays, even if he was out with the players open, his legs was able to bail the team out. He converted, I believe, at least 3 fourth down conversions, right, during the last quarter. So that's what the player we have. So we have a player with the athletic ability. We all know his problems with the mechanics and everything. He sometimes throws high, sometimes throw under. Yes, but the more you give the guy chance, he will develop into the quarterback. At least what we hope he will be. So
let's talk about some other aspects of the game. So I want to touch on maybe some, good things. I thought Trey Sermon played really well. I think he almost had 100 yards this game when push came to shove. So, him and I think if, whenever Mitchell comes back, I think is going to be a really good 1-2 punch for the running game. Another, obviously, Debo, I think, is turning into a bona fide number 1 option. I thought that Ayuk was a better receiver than Debo. I am the first to say I was wrong about that. Debo is the number 1 option, and I would put that even above Kittle at this point. No matter who that quarterback is, it seems like they seek out Debo, and Debo's making a big play regardless of who's throwing him the ball. So those are 2 people I thought did really well. You mentioned another guy. I thought that Emmanuel Mosley played solid.
yes.
He missed a couple tackles that I think, he would have liked to have back, but
Yeah.
overall he wasn't burnt on anything. I thought that was good. And look, in maybe not a full game of the defensive line, but the first 2 quarters, Nick Bosa, D Ford, Hurst even got in there and, getting sacks on Russell Wilson. We saw, I think they ended up with 4 sacks maybe, which is the highest, I think, this season. I thought that was all, positive things that we could look at moving forward. This game, I think we could have easily won if we just had a more prolific offense. So I think that needs to change, and we need to. That's what I'm looking for out of the rest of this season. Is Kyle Shanahan the offensive guru, the offensive genius that we brought him in to be? If this offense isn't showing that it could be a high-scoring offense, I don't think he should be our quarterback next season. And we need to bring somebody in that can make this a really prolific offense, because I feel like we have all the weapons and all the talent in the world to be, and we shouldn't settle for anything less than that.
Yes, that's the thing, because NFC West is always brutal. So we want the best version of this team, because we can't have some talented players waste their best years around a coach who is refusing to get the maximum out of this team.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. K-Mal 4 says, if Debo plays a full year, he'll get over 1,500 yards. Look, I completely agree. And look, he's not getting, you imagine what Debo would be like, if the quarterbacks were playing at a better level. And that'd be great. I hope that Trey ends up being the starter now and gets the opportunity to work on his mechanics to, really evolve. First two series, like I said, I think it was against, I was talking to Ryan, the first two series, he didn't look all that well, but that third series, he looked really good, right? So,
Yes.
So he just needs reps. He's a young guy. He wants to learn. Give him all the first team reps. Let the team know, hey, this is our starter moving forward. And we just saw it with Justin Fields. Obviously, he was playing against, the Detroit Lions, but Justin Fields looked terrible against Cleveland. But he got the confidence, hey, you are our starter, came in, and he showed out against Detroit and got a big win over there for them. So I think that Trey just needs the confidence behind him that, hey, you are the starter. It looks like the team, the receivers like him. You saw how pumped up Debo was once for him. And even on that throw, it wasn't a great throw. Like, Debo had to stop to catch it.
Yeah.
So, but, those are things that can get better with more reps.
Exactly. But he made a great throw where George Kittle was covered on the touchdown line. The goal line, where he actually caught the ball, but I think it was Bobby Wagner or Jamal Williams.
Yeah, I think it was Bobby.
So, but that was a great throw.
Mm-hmm. Well, Runa, one more thing before before we sign off. Talk to me. So it seems like another issue. So we talked a lot about quarterbacks. We talked a lot about Kyle Shanahan. I thought DeMeco Ryans actually did a pretty decent job with his defensive game plan. I don't think there was really much that he necessarily did wrong, which is good, because I think last game, a lot of that fell on his shoulders with lack of adjustments and just letting Davante Adams beat us. Tyler Lockett didn't really do anything this game. DK Metcalf had a few big catches, but overall didn't beat us up the way that we expected, maybe with the secondary. So I give a lot of credit to DeMeco Ryans. However, it seems like this team shoots itself in the foot quite a bit with penalties. There was a 3rd and long, and D Ford lines up off sides.
Yes.
That now makes it 3rd and 1, and the drive keeps going for Seattle. Dre Kirkpatrick, pass interference against Tyler Lockett, that keeps the chains moving. They couldn't get off the field in opportune moments. So these penalties and lack of offensive prolificness, I guess, is causing this team to just be in these battles where I think they should be in blowouts, right? Because the defense has put them in that situation. So talk to me a little bit about why are we doing all of these penalties, and what needs to change, and what is that a product of for you?
One thing I would say, most of these pass interference penalties coming from due to the player's skill set in the sense, when you don't have the speed and your the opposing receiver burning you just for the pure speed, then you have to do something out of desperation. That's going to happen. And there is another thing we need to understand. The NFL is gearing towards the offense. They want offenses to score 30 points, 40 points. So you are going to see more these PI calls and everything. No defense is, you can't expect your defense to week in, week out, hold the opponent to, let's say, 14 points, 20 points. It's not going to happen anywhere. Even if you watch the today's game, Chiefs versus Eagles. I believe Eagles scored like 30 points
Yeah.
against Chiefs, right? So all these teams, then and there, their defenses going to give up points, 30 points, 35 points maybe. But the important thing is that you need to have some kind of offensive firepower to fight the fire with fire. So that's why the problem is, I don't see any problem with our defense. I mean, apart from the decisions made by Kyle Shanahan not to draft cornerbacks or being more serious with that. But that is something now we cannot. I
Change.
don't think we cannot change it during this season. We will have to wait for it until the season ends and in the next season. But other than that, I would still say this defense is okay. This defense can help out to win games, provided that we start improving our offensive side of the football.
I agree. Well, Waruna, I appreciate you always being a part of the show, my man. It's good to be able to talk to you once a week about the 49ers. Yes. I appreciate everybody that called in and everybody in the chat section. Even Kyle the Man Shanahan, my guy. I like trolls because we try to be trolls on Twitter every now and then too. So thank you for guys joining in. Unfortunately, the 49ers are 2-2. We try to touch on some of the silver linings. We shall see how this week goes. Who ends up being the starter against Arizona? Another really tough game for us. And another, I think that's a must win at this point as far as the ability to really make a run through these playoffs. So it's going to be a fun one to talk about. We'll be right here next week after the game as well. And hopefully, Waruna will be celebrating a victory instead of talking about another loss.
Yes, hopefully. Thank you very much.
Absolutely, guys. Thank you so much for everybody for tuning in. If you haven't yet, please like the video. Please subscribe to the channel. I think I was one away from 600. So trying to break that 600 barrier on my way to 1,000. Really, really, really appreciate all of you guys' support. Have a beautiful night. And, we should talk again very, very soon. Take care, guys.
Good night.